Hey, what is up, guys? It is your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be watching MSS play Nyx Assassin. This is a hero that currently has about a 55% win rate and is very dominant in your average pub. So don't say, oh, Speed, this is a hero that's just good in MSS's games. No, this hero is incredibly good. In fact, it is better in low mark games than it is in, pro level games. So yeah, let's take a look at how he executes on this hero. I want to talk about things such as matchups, movements, how to set up kills, how to look for kills, and so on Nyx Assassin. So if you're a support player and you're looking for a hero to have a ton of impact on, Nyx is definitely one of them. He's a hero that can solo kill people, sets up kills reliably, has a pretty easy laning stage, I would say. And yeah, let's hop right into it. So first things first, you want to get a gameleap sub. It's currently $50 off the lifetime sub. Can you believe it, guys? So go sign up down below. It really helps support us. We create content here every day on YouTube. You might have noticed that I've been creating more than one video a day. Part of it's because it's the patch, so I know there's a lot of demand for the content, but I also want to help you guys learn the game of Dota and keep up with the meta. So yeah, if you could sign up for gameleap, I would appreciate it, and let's get into the video. Alright, so for Nyx Assassin, the first thing I want to mention is what his lane is. He's currently laning with a Viper. Now, why is this important? Well, Nyx Assassin tends to like laning with ranged heroes. Reason being is Nyx Assassin is a tank. This hero has high armor, high regen, and is hard to kill. He also has a stun, so he can protect himself and set things up. It's one of the best stun durations at level 1. It's 1.4 seconds, quite long. And knowing this, you want to pick it with heroes such as Viper, Drow, Morphling, Enchantress, Nature's Prophet, and so on, right? That's who you want to pick it with. And so all in all, he's playing it with a Viper here. Now, what do you want to do in the laning stage? Well, in this case, he has a bit of a weird situation. He's against a tri-lane, which he sees, and so he's going to have to play very defensive. His goal here should not be to try to kill anyone. It should solely be to protect the Viper until either the CM rotates out or the Tiny rotates out. On top of that, in this laning stage, he needs to look at his Viper and say, what is Viper's power strength? This is something a lot of people don't do, and you need to do it. You need to say, okay, my Viper is strong in level 3, which is when Viper is his strongest. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to go crazy until Viper is level 3. In fact, he should save his mana until then. Still, he should secure range creeps and should stun anyone who goes out of position, but he shouldn't go crazy, right? So anytime you're against a tri-lane, this is a good thing to note. Your main goal should be to pull. You can see he's instantly pulling here. Now, Tiny, being the good player that he is obviously going to try to disrupt it. Then MSS, once again, is going to try to re-pull it. And this is kind of the shenanigans you see in these games. And yeah, he gets the range creep, which is a big deal. Just this range creep is going to allow him and the Viper to get the lane back, right? Also, the wave ended up going under the tower. So yeah, this is pretty big for them. Just the fact that he was able to pull the range creep. Also, good stun there, right? Tiny brutally out of position. Right, he was trying to zone the Viper off the creep wave so they get a really nice, bit of damage onto the Tiny. So that was a great look. And those are the only opportunities you really do want to look for in the early levels with Nyx. Other than that, you're simply looking for pulls, you're going to help deny creeps, and that's it. Nothing crazy. Now, let's assume this was a dual lane. He actually could harass the CM, right? He could hit the CM, but Monkey King is a horrible matchup for Nyx for obvious reasons. The hero just mans up to you, so yeah, as you can see, he's going to want to try to avoid the Monkey King at all times possible and only fight the CM or stun people who are out of position. That's his only place. And we're going to see that here. I like this example. Oh my god, dude, this Monkey King bug, I don't know how Valve hasn't fixed this. Like, tree, anytime Monkey King is in the game, the trees just like spaz out. Why does this happen? You gotta love it. Well, as the tree is spazzing out, let's still pay attention to the example. Nonetheless, the CM is here, right? Anytime a support hero, a low movement speed squishy hero is in between, this is a key thing, is in between you and the Viper or whoever you're laning with, you want to stun them, right? And that's exactly what we see here. CM is in between them. She's way too far up. The CM should be standing here, right? She's out of position. So he goes for a stun, right? Nice stun, bit of damage. Nothing insane. They end up, oh yeah, they do pick up the kill. He snap levels in the mana burn, which was intelligent, and they pick up that kill. Unfortunately, Monkey King is pretty good in the early game, so they end up falling. The Viper dies, but still, I would say it was a fine trade overall. The Viper can come back to lane now with full mana, and you can see he can zone the Monkey King out quite a lot. So the next thing you want to do as Nyx Assassin is farm mid. We're skipping a little bit ahead here. Really, all the tips I gave you earlier on is just kind of what you want to execute. Continue to pull, right? Nyx Assassin is a hero that wants to force people out of position. Rightfully so, he has a stun, so you pull, force them out of position, stun them. After that, once the game develops a little bit and the laning stage starts to end, you really want to put a priority on getting your levels. Nyx Assassin is a hero that can feel very underwhelming, you know, around that 7 to 9 minute mark if he doesn't have his ultimate. And so yeah, just don't really try to do too much unless you have your ultimate. And, you know, in this case, he even walks mid, right? Hits level 6 off a couple mid creeps, and now he can look to make a play, right? He's going to wait for the SF actually to TP in. I think he wants the SF to bottle him here. He's lacking a bit of mana regen right now. But your hero is also really good at defending mid. Now, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to shove a Prophet TA off the tower. However, your hero is hard to gank, and it has a stun. It also can go invis, so you can see kind of why it's really good to defend towers as Nyx. You can often force the enemy team into really bad engagements. It's similar to how you'll see heroes like Brewmaster and Centaur and Slaughter farming mid in games where the enemy team has a lot of siege. Timbersaw is probably the best example out of all of them. You'll see these heroes TP mid around this time, and that's because they can defend it, right? In this game, they don't really have a great hero to do that. They have like a Coddle and a Nyx, but Ursa can't do it. Viper, not really, right? He's okay, but he's not like a Timber. And so the Nyx is doing it, which makes a lot of sense. Funny enough, the Viper does end up TPing in here to try to defend the tower. You can see it doesn't end up working out, and funny enough, Viper's time just ends up getting wasted. So yeah, I do like that play overall though, right? He sits mid, gets some XP, even looks for a kill here, finds his Tiny, can kill him pretty easily, no problem. Nice, easy pick off. And yeah, this is how you play Nyx. Really important. When you get your ultimate, you want to use it as soon as possible. This is a big thing. On top of that, here's the items you want to buy. Once you hit level 6, you're going to start needing a lot of mana, right? You're going to be very active. And so you want to buy Clarities, Raindrops, Stick, and Tranquil Boots. These are the items that are going to allow you to play very, very high tempo. The next thing I'd like to mention is this skill build. You might be saying, Speed, why in the world does MSS have 1 point in his E? Well, the reason for that is it's not really a good Spike Carapace game. The enemy team doesn't do a lot AoE. You know, they have a Prophet TA and Monkey King, so there's not a ton of things to spike Carapace necessarily. It's much better against nukes, right? How Carapace works, and I think a lot of people don't realize this. I actually coached someone recently and they didn't realize this. It was today. And how Carapace works is that it reflects the damage done. It's not only a damage block. So how it works is it stuns the enemy, it completely negates the damage. So let's say you get fingered, you won't take any damage if it's blocked by Carapace, and it will reflect the damage. So that's why it's really good against heroes like Puck and Lina, because they have nukes you want to reflect, right? But against these right-clickers, very mediocre, and so he opts for the stun, which I think makes a lot of sense. Now, in terms of looking for plays, you kind of just want to constantly be looking at the minimap and paying attention to who's overextending. In this case here, there's a Prophet and a Tiny under tower. There's nothing top. TA is very difficult for Nyx to gank. It's just a bad hero for Nyx to gank most of the time, because you can't really ulti her. She has refraction unless you catch her off guard. Which can be hard to do, especially in these, you know, higher tier games. But nonetheless, he's going to go bottom here. In this case, he wanted to secure the Monkey King kill. That guy ends up going down anyway, so he's going to hunt in these trees. Remember, whenever you have your Vendetta, you actually have a ton of movement speed as well as with the Tranquil Boots, and so you can catch up the kills, so don't be afraid to chase people. On top of that, this is a great play. I love this play so much. He understands, okay, I'm not going to get in range. I don't want to get juked, so he actually stuns right when Prophet goes into this line. Very difficult for him to juke here. Also, he didn't see him coming, so that helps as well. And then, yeah, gets that kill. Whew. Very well done. Also, another thing I'd like to note is if you are going to pick Nyx, and it's a good Carapace scheme, take at least 2 points. You can see even here, he took 2 points into the mana burn, but then went back for a point in Carapace. Honestly, I think he took the point of mana burn just to finish off that kill. But yeah, usually, you don't want to max mana burn. It's almost never a good idea. Even if it's like, oh, but they have a Skywrath and a Storm. Yeah, but you need to stay alive, right? The biggest thing that Nyx wants to do is get off multiple rounds of spells. His Carapace is 10 seconds at max, his stun is 14 seconds, so in fights you typically want to get at least 2 of these off. That tends to be, you know, your goal in the fights. Unless you're hardcore initiating, then, you know, it's not really a big deal if you die. The next play you can make on Nyx is you can scout. At this point in the game, his team didn't really want to make any plays. So let's look at his teammates. Who does he really synergize with? This is a big deal for Nyx in the mid game. You want to look at your team and say, who can follow up my ulti? It's really an important question. And this game, frankly, not really anyone. Coddle is slow, SF is fast, but like, it's kind of awkward, so they sort of can work together. You know, let's say someone's farming a creep wave, Nyx can say, oh, Prophet's farming top creep wave, TP in, bots in, all set up. That can work, so that's an option in this game. But Ursa, yeah, with the Blink Dagger, they can set up kills together, so that's an option. And then that's how you go about it. You kind of say, okay, who can play high tempo? Who can get on top of people with me? So I would say his 2 options in this game are defending towers, that could set up kills, people pushing in waves, SF can TP in, or Ursa. He can maybe, make plays with the Ursa. Other than that, though, if he feels like there's no plays to be made, what he can do is spend a little bit of time of scouting. So here you can see he's just going to wrap through the jungle here, ends up bumping into a sentry from the CM. No big deal, though. It's not like you're going to instantly die unless they saw you do it, but he vendetted from behind the mid-tier one, so that's probably not going to happen. And yeah, now he can scatter in the area, maybe look for a courier, force them to waste more sentry wards, and yeah, he even sits on this side of the map for a little bit, just continuing to scout things out. As he finds another courier. Only if he was bounty hunter here, he would have killed everyone. And funny enough, as he was wrapping around mid here, he ends up getting caught out, missed his stun onto the CM. Honestly, he shouldn't have committed a stun like that. It's just a mistake. There was no follow-up anyway. And even if the Viper is here, it was just kind of a bad stun, to be honest. But yeah, as he gets gone on here, he ends up going down, but frankly, it was a good thing. I mean, the Ursa ends up killing the Prophet in the bottom lane, so that's a big win. They commit a 4-man rotation with the Monkey King TP, and Monkey King commits his ulti as well. So, yeah, like, that's the thing about Nyx. It's very hard to gank Nyx with 1 or 2 heroes, so if you are gonna end up dying, usually it's to 3 or 4 heroes, so it's kind of a win at that point. Now moving on here, I want to talk about this smoke game coming up here. I love this play. He has this Meteor Hammer, so it's definitely a point in the game where he can make a play. His ultimate is coming up. SF's ultimate, right, which is the person he's going to be synergizing with. Typically you need a +1. His ultimate is coming up as well. On top of that, he doesn't really need it, right? Nyx plus raises can kill most heroes, and so, yeah, they pop a little bit of smoke. And I think this makes sense. They have their timings. They saw the TA mid. Both of them are very, very fast, and so they can look to make a play here, right? They're going to head into the jungle, and they're going to sort of be hunting out this PA. Now, they don't end up finding anything right away. They don't want to run into the enemy team. Do keep in mind, if they are to force a fight here, why is it bad? This is actually very advanced Dota. Why is it a bad idea for them to run into, like, the triangle here? Because you might be saying, oh, but Speed, they're smoking it. You should run up the hill. The problem is, the enemy team has a bunch of mobile heroes. They have a Tiny with, almost with Blink. So they have a Tiny, who's a fast hero, right? He wants to show up the fights. They have a Prophet who can TP, and they have a TA with Blink and a Monkey King. So basically, no matter where they gank, there's a pretty high chance it gets counter-ganked and they both die, right? So they only want to get pickoffs if it's on their side of the map, and it's very safe. So they don't really force it here, right? The SF quickly backs up and goes back to farming, and MSS sort of does the same. So that should go to show guys, like, you don't have to constantly force things. You just want to make plays that often are safe and kind of secure your side of the map at this point in the game. Next up here, we're going to see a bit of a play from MSS that I think a lot of people would consider a mistake, but I want to talk about why it's sort of not. So, they know the Nyx is coming. They obviously have a feeling that's why the Prophet's running away. Now, right here, you might be saying, Speed, why doesn't he instantly go for the Meteor Hammer combo here? Because he doesn't, okay? He doesn't go for the Meteor Hammer combo. He walks in front and then does it. Why didn't he do it right away? Well, I'll be honest, I think he could have. He definitely could have, but he saw the Tiny in the area, and I think he was afraid that Tiny could cancel it. He didn't check the Tiny items, and I think he assumes that at the 20-minute mark, Tiny will have a blink. Now, Tiny's 1 in 4, so he doesn't. But I think he was afraid of it getting canceled and wasting it. Nonetheless, he ends up, I guess, hesitating a bit, which is a mistake. Goes for it late, doesn't connect, but still, this is the power of Nyx. You always want to initiate, right? You go in the front here, you get initiated on, he drops his E. Honestly, this was a bit of an early carapace from him as well, so definitely not the best executed fight. The reason why it's an early carapace is he's not even the one getting gone on. Viper was the one getting gone on. It's a bit of a hard call to make, but obviously you only want a carapace when you're getting gone on. However, great stun decision. Didn't panic and stun the Prophet. Stunned the Monkey King, who is the bigger threat of the two, and kites out the side. With the stick, he's able to waste a lot of time, forces the Monkey King to go on him, drops a mana burn, BKB gets popped, but they pick up a kill onto 3 heroes. And it's a very nice setup fight from MSS. It was on their side of the map. It was an easy spot for their team to respawn. And so those are the perfect ganks you want to make, right? It's not the plays where you're like running into the enemy triangle and diving a tier 2. That's what most players do, right? And that's how you throw games as supports. I mean that, guys. Like, what I'm telling you here is game-changing stuff. Game-changing. That difference between setting up plays on your side of the map when people overextend and diving towers is a big difference between you and MSS. And now, as we end up the video here, as I covered most of what I wanted to cover, but as we end up the video here, we're going to see a nice 2-man stun. Do keep in mind at this point of the game, you're not going to be the primary damage dealer. Now sure, using Vendetta and dealing 450 pure damage is great. It also provides a break onto the Monkey King in this case, which would prevent him from using Jingu. But he saw an opportunity to get a 2-man Impale with the Impale stun duration talent into a 2-man Meteor Hammer, which is arguably more valuable. Unfortunately, the TA was able to pop her BKB, but still, he's able to drop the Meteor Hammer onto the Monkey King. Funny enough, that's brutal. I think that's Arteezy, yeah. Arteezy's, his BKB was on cooldown for 1 more second. Ugh, tough. But it is what it is. The Ursa gets the bash onto the Monkey King. He couldn't BKB at all. And another very well set up fight by MSS. Sure, he ends up going down. The Ursa unfortunately died as well. That fight was a little bit too far, right? It was too far, so they weren't able to respond. And that's what I mean, guys. That's why when you see Secret dominating these tournaments, most of the fights they're taking are on their own side of the map. They force you to run into them, they force you into bad areas, and then kill you. The last thing I'd like to cover before I actually end it off is Nyx's Aghanim Shard. It upgrades Vendetta, and it causes the attack to reduce enemy magic resist by 20%, which is really good. A lot of the heroes that follow up Nyx ganks are, tend to be magic damage dealers, so that works very well. It also increases Vendetta movement speed by 40%, unlocking max speed. And as long as you have Tranquils, you'll notice, right, Tranquils and Windlace and a Fated Brooch. Great Nyx Assassin items, by the way. It's good to buy all this movement speed on Nyx. It puts him at 679 movement speed. Look at him! There's a race car. Look how fast he scouts his TA. Oh my god. That's insane. Easily sets up the kill for the Ursa. Ursa end up jumping down the hill. But, yeah, it's really crazy how fast you traverse the map with this. And honestly, it's very, very strong. The only problem is, with this build is you have no Dispel. And do keep in mind, guys, there's one other thing I want to mention. I keep saying that, but a lot of people who are playing Nyx right now are actually going Yules instead of Meteor Hammer, which is an option. I like the Meteor Hammer in pubs because it allows you to split push and farm. Not necessarily take towers, but farm, which is very important. Nyx Assassin gets you a lot of levels. It also is good for setting up kills, but the Yules is very valuable. The reason why Yules is valuable is because it allows you to basically guarantee you'll get Carapace off and waste the enemy team's time, which is a big thing for Nyx. Alright, thank you guys for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. And yeah, if you want more of this support and in-depth support sort of content, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace. And we've been waiting a lifetime for this patch. Speaking of lifetime, gameleap is currently doing a $50 off sale on their lifetime sub. So if you're looking for thousands of videos and new daily content every day, you can get a lifetime sub for $50 off right now. This is a special we're doing for the new patch to celebrate. So click the link down below, sign up now, you won't regret it. It's quite a large discount. So I really recommend that you guys take advantage of it, and I'll see you there.